Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be talking about a set that came out 2 years ago. That is Astral Radiance. I'm talking about this, and I think I'll continue doing this around 2 years or 1 year after a set is released because it's really interesting to see how sets develop over time with new cards coming out and either increasing their presence in the meta or pushing them out. For this video, I'm just going to be going through the Limitless website and looking at the cards and talking about the ones that I think are worth mentioning, both if they've underperformed, overperformed, or done what we expected or not what we expected. There's some pretty weird cards in here, to be honest. But yeah, let's just start. And the first Pokemon we're going to talk about is going to be Hisuian Lilligant V-Star. Now, this card is, it's a card, it's a grass Pokemon, it's a grass V-Star, one of many grass V-Stars, and has it been good? No, it has not been good. However, it got a bunch of hype, a surprising amount of hype before the set began. It was kind of like, oh, there's Godinia's Vigor in the set. And Godinia's Vigor is a supporter that lets you accelerate, well, I should just pull it up, but it lets you accelerate grass energy from your hand, and then you get to draw some cards, or actually you draw cards first, and then you get to accelerate energy. It's a card. It's seen play in Regidraco V-Star predominantly, and I guess some other stuff, but not a lot of play. It's not so good, and neither was Hisuian Lilligant V-Star. It's a mediocre V-Star. Not terrible, but not great. But it was interesting. This was one of the big like Pokemon kind of hyped out of the set, and it just ended up not being very good. I don't know exactly how much hype it was getting. I wasn't paying a ton of attention to what was coming out at the time the set was released for whatever reason. I remember some stuff, and I remember this was when the deck's hyped up, and then Palkia, and Palkia was a little better. And so let's get to that in now, I guess, because that's the next deck up, and that is Origin Form Palkia V-Star. Its ability lets you accelerate water energy into play, and its attack it does 60, 20 more for each bench Pokemon. This is also, I was going to say relatively recent of Suicune V getting printed, and so it's very similar. Their attacks are very similar. Suicune V has since rotated, but Palkia V-Star is still a pretty solid force in the meta. And if you look at decks it's been played in a bunch of different decks. It's been played in, of course, Palkia V-Star focus decks, but then it's been played in Chien-Pao EX decks. It's been played with Goldengo EX space decks, which is pretty interesting as just two kind of different attackers, and then Raging Bolt EX most recently with where we use Raging Bolt EX and you like power up energy into play using Palkia V-Star, and that's pretty interesting because it's just a way to power it up. But now Raging Bolt EX is more shifting away from that, moving towards there's like a regular way to play it, and then there's also with the new Grass Ogerpon, which is it's better than Palkia V-Star. It's not your V-Star power. It draws you cards and yeah, it's just better. And it's basic as well. So but Palkia V-Star was pretty good, especially, and still is pretty good, especially paired with the new mechanic introduced in the set, which was Radiant Pokemon. There were a few. There was a Radiant Heatran, there was Radiant Greninja, and there was what was the last one? Oh, Radiant Hawlucha. Radiant Hawlucha and Radiant Heatran are pretty not good. Radiant Heatran's funny. You can do like absurd amounts of damage with it, but it's not that good. But then we do but by the way, Radiant Heatran was really made to pair with Magma Raisin of the set prior, and there's also Heatran VMAX made to do it and pair with it, but not so good cards to be honest there. Then we got to Radiant Greninja. Its ability concealed cards is like super good. It's by far the best Radiant Pokemon. Radiant Charizard's pretty good, and Radiant Alakazam's also pretty good, and there are some other ones that are solid, but Radiant Greninja, you discard an energy to draw two, and then you also have Moonlight Shuriken, which says water, colorless. You discard two energies from this Pokemon, but you do 90 to two of your opponent's Pokemon. Keep in mind, and this isn't super relevant for Radiant Greninja, but some people have been asking about the ruling. If you do have double turbo energy, you will be doing just 90 damage, or sorry, just 70 damage here. You'll be doing 20 less because even though you do technically, it says discard the energy first and then do the damage. It's not actually how it works. In the Pokemon trading card game, you calculate damage and then you like do this stuff. You discard the energy. I'm relatively versed in the rules. I don't know 100% how the rules work in like other scenarios, but I know here that you will be taking the reduced damage, and with Greninja EX, which is the one that's been asked about a lot, but and is very meaningful and I believe incorrect in Pokemon TCG Live still, but Anyway, still really solid, 90 to 2. I mean, if we look at decks this is played in, it's played in well, a lot. I don't know. Yeah, you can see the scroll bars to the right, and it's about as small as it can be, meaning that there's a lot of decks that was played in. Really good. Palkia, but then like pretty much everything else. If you attack with it, great, but you don't have to be able to attack with it to get good value out of it as well. It's just the best general Radiant Pokemon and can be put into pretty much any deck, which is really cool. There is Regice. We'll talk about the Regis in just a moment, or probably a bit later, but um, Regice was one of them, and arguably one of the better ones, at least in my opinion when it came out, because it was able to punish Pokemon Vs. Also, I believe this is the last Fusion Strike Pokemon, Galarian Mr. Rhyme V. It is rotated, it's not in the format, but it was printed in this set. Also, this, as I said, most of these cards are still in format, but there are a few that have rotated. Also, there have been some insane control Pokemon from this set, so let's talk about them now. Control or other similar things. There's also Gallade. I'll just mention Gallade here. Searching for a support, useful in Gardevoir, but you can play it in Control, and you can play it in different decks. It's a card I like, but it's not super highly played. But then outside of that, for Control, we have what else? I'm looking for stuff, but I know there's a big one which is going to be Ursaluna. There's also Canceling Clone, a fun little card. I guess let's go to the Radiant Greninja. Hisuian Heavy Ball, really good card. Played in Control a lot, but really good. Teblicino also played in Control and other decks. Now it's being played in Roaring Moon EX, I think the most. Um, Giratina V-Star, some different decks, but yeah, Templeton is a pretty solid stadium. But the three cards I want to talk about are Regieleki, which was it's a Reggie. Obviously, it has Reggie in its name, but it is I think more known for being a control card with its attack electromagnetic sonar. For one colorless, put a trainer from your discard pile into your hand. And then we also have Ursaluna, which is a stage 2, but it says put for one colorless, put 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. Any 2 cards, so they can be not trainers, but oftentimes they'll be trainers. But these two cards are both super good in control. Ursaluna is really powerful, but played really on its own is a stage 2, so you need to really commit to it. On the other hand, Regieleki is it's easily splashable into any deck. We've seen it in Charizard EX decks, but it's most well known for being in my opinion, control decks, and it's really good. So you can go ahead and recover stuff relatively easily. And speaking of control decks, we also have Luxray. This is the most obvious like control Pokemon in the set. Fang's Knife for 2 colors. Your opponent reveals their hand, and it does 30, but you discard a trainer you find from there. So dealing 30 actually is bad. You don't really want to do any damage at all because if you knock out your opponent's Pokemon, you can't trap it. However, you can stick on double turbo, then you're only doing 10, and you're probably not knocking out much. And if you stick on a second double turbo energy, then you're not doing any damage, which is really nice. Even if you are later boosting that damage, it'll go to 0, so you won't be doing any damage. And this is just really, really good. You'd have Radiating Pulse, so you could attack with this for like 120 paralysis, which is not bad. There are times when you'll use it, but just not times in control. So it's unlikely that you'll be using it, but I have actually made decks based around it some, and it's okay. But with the amount of control options, controllers got a lot better with this set. It's a more well-rounded and complete deck. But we already had, I believe. Oh wait, no, we didn't have Snorlax at this time. So Snorlax would come later. I don't remember when it came, to be honest. The Pokemon Go Snorlax. I don't remember. Oh, I can just look. Yeah, so Pokemon Go was the set after. Okay, so or the mini set after. So pretty soon after you got to play Pokemon Go. Cards in the TCG, including Snorlax, and you could put some of these in, but they weren't always played. There was I also didn't mention Miltank. This Waltz Pokemon V. Right now it doesn't really see any play, but because you can just play Mimikyu, which is better. But Miltank here is pretty nice because it lets you wall Pokemon V. And Pokemon V were just really good at this time, so being able to wall them just put you in an insane position and would really mean that you'd be able to just wall off a lot of really, really good decks because almost every good deck was a Pokemon V-based deck. So, admittedly, some did have ways to hit through you. Look at Pokemon like Giratina V, UV Max, and I imagine there are some others that had hit through attacks, shred-based attacks, but still, Miltank a really, really solid card, but it's really fallen off now because it's just not very useful at all. Then I mentioned Origin Form Palkia V-Star. I want to mention Origin Form Dialga V-Star. this was really interesting, I guess. I mean, it's still interesting. It's probably my least favorite deck in this current stand format, to be honest. Not because it's the worst, although it's not particularly good, but because it's really, really not fun, in my opinion. Because I mean, it's V-Star power. It's 5 energy. You do 220 and take an extra turn. If you pull this off, you are very likely to win the game because you just get an extra turn where you can accelerate extra energy, do more damage, and just do all this stuff. But if you miss it, you probably, I mean, you lose because you're setting up for nothing. So, and if you get it, you don't always just win the game. It's not quite that simple. I made it seem like it was just super broken. It's really good, but I mean, it's a V-Star power, so once per game. And then Metal Blast, it's good energy ramp style attack, but the deck, in my opinion, is not very interesting. But originally when it came out, let me see if I can find a list. Here we go. Some random Dialga list, and this deck plays no recovery cards, or no Pokemon recovery cards. A 2/2 Dialga line V-Star. It does run a single price Dialga and Zacian V, but really it just the 2/2 Dialga V-Star. So you attack with 1 Dialga, and then you have 4 Metal Saucers, which accelerate Metal Energy, and that's it. That's your only energy acceleration. Later on, we got the Lost Zone in the next set. And this deck, in my opinion, was pretty solid, to be honest, because now you didn't just have 4 Metal Saucers. You had Oh, wait, maybe this is a post-rotation deck. Let me find a pre-rotation deck. So now you didn't just have 4 Metal Saucers, but you also had Mirage Gates, and I think this deck was pretty solid. But now only having Mirage Gate, it's just not as good. But then you did have Dialga with Magnezone. This is the really crazy deck somewhere. There was some really crazy deck that was did really well in, I believe, a Japanese tournament, but um, anyways, so this deck was really, really crazy. You had a lot of energy, so much energy that Limitless can't, like, it doesn't like it when you have more than, I think, 19. I don't remember, but this is more energy than it likes. And then you can go in with Dialga V-Star. Now you have a thicker line. You have so much energy. And you have this, like, these lightning Pokemon. It's kind of weird, but it's actually not that weird now. It's kind of built like a Charizard EX deck with, like, Rotom V and Radiant Greninja. I guess Radiant Greninja isn't in Charizard, but Rotom V just wasn't played a lot at this time. And then we also had 2 Darkness V-Stars. We had Darkrai V-Star and Hisuian Samurai V-Star. The Hisuian starter Pokemon all had V-Stars in the set, and we'll get to Hisuian Decidueye V-Star later. Hisuian Typhlosion V-Star just wasn't super good. It's a deck I actually played recently, not in a video, but it's a pretty interesting deck, surprisingly, but pretty bad against the current meta, in the past meta, but the Hisuian Samurai V-Star, pretty fun. It has a V-Star power that does damage, and like its attack does damage. This is a cool card, but nothing crazy. Then we also had Darkrai V-Star. Its V-Star power has actually recently started seeing play. I mean, not that recently, but more recently started seeing play in decks that are not able to use its attack really to much damage at all. That is because it recovers. Wait, what is this deck? Okay, well, yeah, it has seen play. To recover just item cards like say Mirage Gate or whatever. In the School Dango list, someone played it to recover, I mean, just general items, especially with the new Ace specs. It's really nice, allowing you to reuse these essentially once per game cards multiple times, which is really nice. And then your attack Dark Pulse, it's this classic energy ramp style attack. We just get lots of Darkest Energy in play, and we had Dark Patch in the set to accelerate Darkest Energy as well. And that was just really good. Darkrai V-Star never really became a top deck, but it wasn't too bad. There's a Glaring Moltres and Glaring Moltres V that have both rotated, but they did accelerate Darkness Energy, so this deck was not that bad. And then you could pair it with like Roaring Moon EX and have some pretty solid value as well. And then, oh yeah, I said I was going to talk about Hisuian Decidueye V-Star. I will quickly talk about V-Maxes. There was apparently 1 in the set, Machamp V-Max. No, 2. Heatran V-Max and Machamp V-Max. They're okay. They're not terrible, but they're not particularly good. But this was near the end of VMAXs being printed, as well as this past year, or the year I'm talking about, which was I guess 2022. There were not a lot of VMAXs. So then we go and come to Hisuian Decidueye V-Star. This deck is really known for one thing, but first of all, what does it do? It has an ability which is okay, but it was played in Arceus, so it's outclassed by Arceus V-Star's V-Star power. And then Somersault Feathers, it knocks out Arceus, right? It one-shots Arceus V-Star. It's fighting type, so it hits Arceus for weakness. Also, sorry, I don't feel so good right now. But one a particular tournament that is generally I don't put too much like I don't know I don't value tournament results too much, but it did win the world championship. Oh, and it was first, second, third. I knew it was first and second. I forgot it was third as well. Yeah, it was first, second, third, and with the deck ADP Arceus, was it Arceus Decidueye Pikachu? Um, yeah, I mean it's a deck. It's more known for the Flying Pikachu and probably Arceus. Hisuian Decidueye V-Star will probably be the most forgotten about Pokemon from this deck of the main three, but it still probably was going to be most known for. It's whatever. Outside of that, in terms of basic Vs, I mentioned Luxray V. Starmie V was played some in water-based decks. It's not a bad card. You could still play it. It actually has free retreat, and it punishes it's just really good against Arceus decks for one-shotting stuff. Not amazing though, because you will probably get one-shot back. Outside of that, there was also Weird Deer V is it's good in the Lugia V Star decks mostly, although it can be played in Gardevoir EX or Dialga V Star decks or maybe other stuff, but it just is an energy ramp attacker that's pretty good. Rangroot V is a card, it gets tools, it's played in Lost Zone occasionally. Oh, rip my screen. There we go, it's back. And then we had Garchomp V. Garchomp V is a card that open up. There we go. Sometimes played in the Dragon decks, notably Regidrago V-Star. This is not Regidrago V-Star, by the way. But because sometimes, by the way, someone like commented this. This was a while ago, but someone commented and it's like, wait, that's like not the card I'm talking about. Sometimes I start talking about a deck that I'm not showing on screen. But this deck is this card is something I played in Regidrago V-Star. And it has, I don't know, I've seen it played. It's not really seen a lot of tournament success, as you can see here, but it's still a card. I think it's all right in Regidrago V-Star. It's 220 snipe, so not bad. And then you also have that's about it for Vs. Then we have some single prizes we need to talk about. And as I've been talking about earlier, there was the Reggie stack. So I guess I'll open up all the Reggies. Most of them are not so interesting. There is a Regidrago, which is draw some cards, which is all right. Then there's I'm forgetting two of the Reggies. Where's the fighting one? I can't find it. Oh, Regirock, and then there is a another one. These are like so forgettable. Maybe they're not forgettable, but there's just so many of them, and I never like was it massive. I mean, they're cool. They're cool, but they're whatever. But then the deck itself, we got Regigigas with the Reggie's deck. Ancient Wisdom is its ability. Once during a turn, if you have Regirock, Registeel, Regice, Regieleki, and Regidrago in play, of course, in addition to Regigigas, which has to be in play, which is six Pokemon in play, which is well, all your Pokemon, other than an expanded, which I don't think any of these are expanded tournaments, but an expanded you can do some fun stuff with it. Oh, then I forgot this card was also played in Lugia. Yeah, anyway, then you get to go ahead and accelerate 3 energy, which can be special energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon anyway, or to one of your Pokemon, one of your Reggies. And then they all have different attacks that are like okay. But yeah, they're certainly it's a deck. Right now in current standard, it's so much worse because you have to play all these basic energy cards, which just gets super awkward. But previously, you could play it with let me find it. The first. Oh no, let's this one. This is a Reggie's deck. Played Aurora Energy, which you could just accelerate, and then that pays literally all of your attack costs, including Regidrago's. Well, okay, it doesn't pay Regigigas. With Regigigas, you need a Twin Energy and an attachment, but then you could get 5 energy on. But Regidrago was Grass, Fire, Light, colorless. There was Lightning, Lightning, colorless, Fighting, Fighting, colorless, Water, Water, colorless, Metal, Metal, colorless, and then colorless on Regigigas. So that one was kind of awkward to pay, but important against VMAX. And you could also play powerful colorless energy. But anyways, that is the Reggies. There's a lot more stuff to say about them, but quite frankly, the deck's super inconsistent. And a deck that I never enjoyed playing on account of it being kind of not so good. Speaking of decks that are bad, there was also... Wait, no, never mind. The Keldeo deck was not in this set. It's Hisuian Basculin and Basculin Legion. This is not the Hisuian Basculin Legion that sees play, but Hisuian Basculin, a really interesting card. Free attack, sets you up, just a really solid attacker. Not amazing though. Oh, we have Hisuian Typhlosion. I played this in the worst deck I've ever played in a video a few weeks ago, I think, maybe 2. It was bad. Diancie saw some play as essentially a wall. Your opponent can't boss his orders around it, essentially is what it does. And we also saw Medina. Medina was a counter to Mew VMAX. It wasn't a great counter to Mew VMAX, but it saw some play. I guess mostly in Zoroark because there's Drapion V came in the next set, which is easier. But then the Mew VMAX rotated, so no one's ever going to play that card because it's not good. And soon Braviary. This is like a weird free attacker. It's not the spread one, but it's one that I've seen played some. It's kind of funny. And then let's talk about the trainers. Adaman was supposed to. Oh, and then so we got Adaman and Irida, which worked with the Dialga and the Palkia decks, but people didn't really play them that much. Adaman has seen some play in Dialga, but it's super inconsistent. Then Irida has seen play mostly in Champao, but Irida's so good. Letting you search for an item in a water Pokemon, just a really, really, really good and really cool card. I also mentioned Gardenia's Vigor, not so good. We got Grant, weird supporter, that actually is essentially a supporter with an ability, which is so crazy. It says we can play at your fighting Pokemon's attacks, do 30 more this turn, which is like fine. I mean, it's good. I've seen some play in some fighting decks, I think. Oh yeah, Cloth and I guess Ancient Box is also a fighting deck. But then it says if it's in during a turn, if this grant is in your discard pile, you may discard 2 cards, accept any grant from your hand, and then put this grant into your hand. This is really weird. It's essentially an ability on a supporter. It's like okay for discarding. It's just a super bizarre card though. It's kind of fun, but kind of weird. Gutsy Pickaxe for more fighting stuff. Which, oh, I guess was for a student decision by V-Star? Or was it from Champ VMAX? I don't know. I don't know why there's like this fighting support in the set. We got Gapejaw Bog. This was really good later on for Soon Zoric V-Star, which isn't a great deck, but it's okay. And then we got Spicy Seed and Carry. This card, super good in Cloth with Hisuian Electrode V. With Hisuian Electrode V. There we go. Except it rotated. This card rotated. I have zero idea why, or I have a vague idea why, but it's kind of strange. Anyway, that there's a card just randomly rotating from the set that's not like a Fusion Strike Pokemon, but yeah, Spicy Season Carry rotated. Goodbye, Spicy Season Carry. We got Feather Ball from UV Max. We got Hisuian Heavy Ball I mentioned earlier. Templacino, which I also mentioned earlier. We got Wait and See Turbo. This card's bad. We got Roxanne as well, which is actually super good, and Silene. 2 amazing supporters that are just super, super good. I was going to say super disruptive. Roxanne's disruptive. Silene's played in control, so it's also disruptive, but you can put Silene in other decks. It's played in Chimpao sometimes. It's sometimes played in I was gonna say Charge. I don't think Charge really plays it, but MUV Max sometimes plays it, and a few different decks played it, but a lot of it is control as well. And yeah, I mean that's just the set from from 2 years ago. So pretty interesting. Oh, we got some full arts as well. These cards are like all rotated. But anyways, tell me if you are interested in hearing more videos from this, if you want more scripted stuff, because this is not a scripted video. I didn't really plan this, but I was just like, this seems like a really fun idea to do. Talk about some cards. Oh, super effective glasses. Funny card. But I hope you enjoyed. Sorry, I'm kind of tired right now, but I hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me, and hit the notification bell as well. By the way, notification bell is turned to like a medium by default. When I say medium, like very little. You won't get, you'll barely get any notifications if you just subscribe. But then if you actually, you can turn it on to get notifications about all videos, although it will not alert you of community posts and stuff, which is kind of weird, but oh, we also got Switch Card. Switch Card's good, isn't that? I forgot about that card. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all the good stuff. Comment down below your thoughts. As always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.